Oh, hey, it's Wes, and today we're taking a look at the new SmallRig RT25 light bar. A versatile, modular design. I took this on photo shoots, video shoots, commercial shoots, personal work, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on it, starting with the build quality, as always. First thing you'll notice when picking this up is that it's a tiny bit heavier than some competing light bars, because this is largely made of metal. Most light bars in this class are made of like a polycarbonate tube. And you'll see here as well, we have the handle, which is the battery. This battery is almost dead, so I'm going to plug it in. There we go, and now we're charging. How fast are we charging? Let's find out. We are charging at 32.4 watts. This battery itself is about the same size as a lot of light bar batteries, except that it is removable. This is a 44.6 watt-hour battery. As you can see, you can tap the button on there to see how much is left in it. We look at the light bar itself, all of a sudden things are looking very symmetrical, which is nice for a light bar. And if I so choose, I can power this light bar via USB-C. Let me just take this cord, plug it in here, turn on the light bar. Simple as that. This is a 25 watt light bar, so let's see how much power we're drawing here. Showing 17 watts. Gonna put this at 5600K. And put my power up to 100. And now we're drawing 25.9 watts. So we are beating that advertised metric already. Let's plug the battery back in so we can use it later. So on the front here, we're just a little bit squishy, which is actually what we want with our transparent members. You don't want it cracking if you drop it. The bar itself, though, is incredibly rigid metal construction. We have a mounting rail, we have quarter-20s, we have the larger threads, we have quarter-20 on this end as well, and our mounting point for the battery pack. You'll notice that we have a rubber grommet over this door. We also have one over this door. However, it's hard to keep this to stay shut. Now the reason for these though, this is IP54 rated, so you can get this a little damp. And I got it damp. When I was using this with the water splashing on it, I had this closed, and then while I was using it, it popped itself back out. I didn't close it hard enough. I didn't realize how finicky this rubber door is. Honestly, that is the biggest weakness of this. The rubber doors that help it in the weather sealing are not fantastic. Our buttons are nice and clicky. I enjoy how this is a power switch, not a soft key. And if you get the full pack, you get these barn doors that I found that a lot of light bars that have barn doors included or as an accessory, they are kind of kludgy. These ones, they snap on, fit very nicely. Open, close, and there's just a button on the side to pop it back out. This system works much better than a lot of them because you can see it's already built into it. Overall, I am very happy with the build quality. This is a much more industrial design than a lot of the competition. It's a 9.5 out of 10 for build quality. Feature set. One of the big features of this is that it is a 25 watt light bar. A lot of light bars of this size are between 15 and 20 watts, so this ekes out a little bit more power against the competition. We have the removable handle, which has its ups and downs because, again, a lot of light bars of this size, the battery is built into the shaft. There's no direct DMX control. There isn't even any Bluetooth app support, which kind of disappoints me because this does have built-in effects. We're going to go through those in a minute. But accessing the effects is a bit of a chore because you have to go through the hands-on interface, which used to be just how you do it, but nowadays almost everything has Bluetooth app support, which makes using your effects so much easier. Let's have a look at those effects. So as you can see, we have all the basics covered here, and that's great, but we're lacking a little bit of versatility to the effects. Not quite as much customizability as you would get in, say, the Sidus Link app with Aperture and Amaran, so your mileage may vary there. So overall, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10 for feature set. Light quality, let's go to the numbers. And we'll see in the white color, we have very good results. We have a 98.5 CRI at 5600K, 96.6 at 2700K, 96.8 at 6500K, very good. Our R9 is 98, also 98 at 2700K. Quite a bit lower, 87 at 6500K, so if you're trying to shift your colors in your shot, that might not work as well for skin tones. Our Kelvin shift from 10 to 100% is only 22, very low, very nice. And our CCT accuracy is very good. So at 2700K, it comes in at 2686, at 5600, 5545, and at 6500, our biggest shift, it's only 6329. Overall, fantastic. That's a 93.9 for the white light CRI testing, and we use the extended CRI when we test CRI here. If we move over to the RGB testing, we will see the output consistency between the colors is very good. I rated that at 26.3 average deviation. As you can see on the chart here, what that means is generally RGB lights are brightest at green and dimmest at blue when it comes to lux. Now, this measurement isn't based on absolute power output, but lux takes into account human photosensitivity. I'm going to do a video on that soon, explaining why it is so hard for lights to put out blue light at the same apparent brightness as all the other colors. But very good there. Our Rec 2020 color space, also fantastic. Saturation, not quite class leading, it's kind of middle of the pack there. And our HSI accuracy is good, but not great. That gives us a total of 91.5 in RGB. That is our second best of all. That gives us an average for light quality of 92.7, which is a 9.3 out of 10. Fantastic. Usability. The user interface is not fantastic. I don't like the way that we have this clicky wheel in play here. And another big hit for usability is this. As you can see, when I first brought this out and plugged it in, it started charging. However, subsequent attempts to charge it have failed. This is incredibly finicky as to when it is going to charge and not charge. It has been like that since the day I opened the box. Let's try it with this cable instead. No, it just doesn't want to charge right now. So that's my biggest problem with usability. I suspect I might have some trouble with my battery itself. And I know for sure this is going to charge later because it always does eventually. But that's a problem for me. Lack of Bluetooth app support is a big hit to usability. I don't like that I have to keep pressing the same button to do all the same things. It's just not the most intuitive user interface. And as far as usability goes, if we take a look at our power curves here, barn doors, as I said, work fantastic. The compact size, removable handle, this can be good or it can be bad depending on who you are and how you do things. Some people just need to have the battery built into the light, and this just wouldn't work for them. Like if you're connecting things end to end and you need to create a particular shape and you can't externally power it. Rail mounting system, very nice. Many mounting points on this. What I would say is the device itself is fairly usable, but the whole interconnectivity and interface, not so much. The hardware is great though. One issue that I had is banding. It's something that I actually stopped testing for because lights were getting so good at it, it was just a waste of my time. However, I was using this as a fill light outside and I got banding, especially in the shadows where it's filling in the light. So as you can see here, looking at different shutter speeds, At 1/1000th of a second, there is banding, and then it gets worse and worse as you get up to 1/8000th of a second. The light is just completely unusable. So there's some sort of a pulse width modulation going on here. This is at 100% output, which 100% is generally when you get the least banding. So if you're shooting upwards of 1/1000th of a second for photos or doing high speed video, this is not going to do the job for you. Now, if you're shooting 24, 60, 120p video, you're never going to see that. This is only a very high speed scenario, like in bright light for photo or very high speed. Overall, for usability, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. It has its ups and its downs. Value. How much are we paying for this? Well, with the battery and the barn doors, $180. Stripped down, just the light bar itself, $120. Its most direct competitor when it comes to light output would be the Sony RT25 at $110. Has a built-in battery, just a kind of big squishy tube light like a lot of the generic competition is. And then in more comparable prices, there's the Genere PX2 18 watts for $200, the newer TL60 $150 for 20 watts, and very similarly the Godox TL60 for $240 for 18 watts. So not the best price, not the worst price. I feel like with this build quality though, it is a pretty good bang for your buck. I'm gonna give this an 8.5 out of 10 for value. And what's that give us as a total? 82.6%. Not at the top of our chart, kind of in the middle. This isn't a light for everyone with the battery that attaches on the end, but the impressive, water-resistant, rugged design, this would be for particular people to work into a particular workflow. If this light bar might be for you, there's going to be a link down in the description below to pick one up to help support this channel and feed my fat cats. If you have any questions about the SmallRig RT25, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. Until next time, let's go take some photos.